What's up, guys? Nick here with some raw day trading, and here we have another day, another 1,500% penny stock move. Bonkers. Um, I am exhausted mentally, physically full from eating too much banana bread, but am very uh, grateful, I guess is the right word. Sitting up $1,200, just above it. And most of that was on this IXHL stock. It went from this morning at 7:25 a.m. This stock was at 6 cents. Think about it. 6 cent name. I'm not even sure if it had news. Honestly, don't give a crap. Not really what I care about as much. I don't. It's a healthcare stock. I know that much. Um, Thank God too that this happened intraday. It wasn't the easiest stock to trade. I will say that probably because it was intraday. I missed most of the uptrend from 9:30 till 10. I mean, it's only a half an hour that you had to get in. That put it up like 500% or something. 300. I don't know. And then after hours, of course, I didn't trade it because I'm not on a good broker, and I was brain dead. And pre-market, I didn't trade it for the same reasons because I'm West Coast and it's early in the morning. And I'm already waking up at 5, and so it's like But that whole move from base to top, 1,500%. That's a lot. It's a lot of move. And it held up throughout the day. Every time it looked like it was just cooked, it just kept getting bought up and bought up very aggressively. Um, let me get out the example. All right, for this one we got. All right, let's go here. So this stock IXHL, it actually had made a similarly price move, but something happened here. I really don't care to know what it is, but fuck it. We'll look at it. What happened here? What happened here? So there was news on Monday, apparently after the bell. Looks like this Monday. Was this Monday? No, it was a week and a half ago. And it dumped from all of 60 cents to 13 cents, continued lower. What day was that? It's not telling me. It's 14.24 to 23.25. 37. Was it the 7th? Yeah. Okay. So it priced an offering. And maybe that's why it ripped so much, because the offering was already priced in and they weren't able to have another offering. That makes no sense. It was at 33 cents and they made an offering at $1.08. It's ridiculous. Who was buying shares at $1.08? Way above the pricing. But either way, this has a history of making big moves, selling off, and gently selling down. If you look at the daily chart, it's just clear this drawing set. It's just the pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, fade. Pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, fade. And, tomorrow I don't expect anything from this. This is all kind of just moving off sector momentum or stock type momentum of like these low volume penny stocks. But it was literally at 8 cents. Like, where does this have to go? Actually, I think here's the real strategy. You have 8-cent stocks and you buy them, and then once they do a reverse split and it puts it up above like whatever amount, then you just sell it off, because they usually sell once that happens. But there's just like such, like, where's there to go? Like, even if you had like 1,000 shares, it's like, what, $80? Oh man, that's interesting. And like, so like some get delisted and some go to the fucking moon, doubling, tripling, quadrupling, 15xing, 15x. I think that it went up 15x, 1,500%. That is wild. But it's not the only one that's been going crazy. The big difference is today you had, let's see, what's the percentage? The move was, it actually only went up 184% intraday, but pre-market from 7 a.m. till open, or 7 a.m. till 8:55, it was up 519%. Crazy. From trough to peak, it was 1,000 there, and then 1,500 if you count the after hours. So, anyways, I'm done thinking about this one. You had a lot of these situations where, like here, it sells off so much, but it's like, well, it went so high that this consolidation, as it consolidates sideways, kind of just ends up being a pivot higher, and then shorts get squeezed out, it curls back up, and then pivots higher, kind of the same, and super, super kind of choppy action. And, try not to buy breakouts on these because they suck. This area right here was actually kind of okay. Around 12:45. I was just sitting here staring at the screen all fucking day. All right. Let's see if we can go through some video and find some meaningful places. I don't remember all the stuff. I didn't really take too many notes because I was really zoned in. What's up, Jimmy? All right, so starting at the end of the day, this move I miss because I hesitate. This is on PHGL. I hesitate just a second too long, and it does a really fast bounce. I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't watching the stock. The spreads were a little weird. It was a little bit loose, but the volume was right, and then the time of day was okay, and then the kind of, again, it was a penny stock name testing, kind of like in the testing the $1 range, and then it does this really nice little tap of VWAP. I personally didn't trust that. Also, it's a higher volume red candle, which I didn't like. It looked like it was closing. Oh no, okay, it closes green. Interesting. So the 5 minutes about to close right there. Dips down. So it dips down right there. And I was looking at it. I was like, yeah, I want it below these lines. I wasn't quite sure where to get it, but I knew it had to test lower before it could do anything. or had an idea that it could. You never quite know. Sometimes these just go, but test low, and it got bought up pretty quick right there. Like I think the only entry I could have got was like 87, and then I'd be selling up there at like 93, probably looking to hold half, but whatever. I miss it, and then it consolidates here, not looking fantastic, and I'm like, all right, I'll just mosey around here. I at this point was so tired of trading IXHL, so not frustrated with it, just like it was just not making the moves I thought, and it kind of felt like it was dead, or at least being suppressed at that point, as it kind of just made these pivots, at first slight pivots lower, and then started kind of dumping, and it was below 75, and then all of a sudden it bounces back up a little bit, but I'm like, not. It's just not clean enough. There's just so much selling pressure on it that I don't want to play. And okay, so let's see here. Did really good being patient for this. I was just sitting here very, very calmly, very patiently. At this point, I was, I'm up nicely on the day. I don't want to ruin anything because there have been many days where I've just given it all back just on like one last trade type of deal. And so I was just very cautious with getting in here. And then this dip right here, you see the red on the tape. It's going into both the 20 SMA, the VWAP, and it's kind of stalling here. The candle's going to close in a second, and I'm like, I don't like it though. It looks like it's going to unload a little bit further, and then I get back in as the candle closes. It's showing support, and it looks bad. But the thing about it looking bad is it looks bad because it's pushed down so low. And, if it goes lower, I'll lose, 50, maybe $100 if it really unwinds. But the upside is pretty nice here. And it was a little slow going here at first, but I was kind of just in profit right off the bat. So I was like, let's just see how this candle closes, and if it goes back through my entry, then I'll cut it. And pretty classic strategy, right? And I'm kind of just sitting here. Today might be kind of unique. I think normally there would be a little bit more back and forth, jerking around. Like I kind of think for this type of move to happen on a more normal day in a market that might not be so hot, is it probably would have went through the low there and then recovered, and I probably would have lost on that. But I was like, okay, let's just see how this closes. Okay, so it closes strong, good volume. I think it's going to come down and retest again. Oh no, and it pops up from there. I'm like, ooh, okay. 94. Well, can I get 95? And then now I'm starting to look at the whole dollar. I'm like, maybe it hits $1. Okay. Well, I'm going to take half off right here, book a little profit, and it starts testing $1. And I take another half off just because I'm like, this has turned out very nicely. I don't want to let it get ruined. And so I unload at 75 with 70% of my position. And it's tapping $1 here. The bids are a little bit loose. They're not really firming up into the dollar. And so it just means there's not enough buying pressure really to push it through on this candle. The candle closes and it's going to do a little test down here. And I think I'm going to take a little bit off, maybe a little bit lower, around 50. Yeah, so it dips below 50 there for a second. And makes me a little bit nervous, so I decided to book a little bit more profit. Honestly, a little chicken shit of me because I was already up nicely. Yeah, so once it retests that just below 50, I'm sitting there. Okay. So I have like not a quarter of a position, I have an eighth of a position on right now. So really small. And then it's going to bust through dollar right here. And then I'm going to take profit, I think, above the dollar on the last small part. But this ends up going another 20% higher to $1.20. Which is really, really kind of like really nice. So that was that. Let's go over to I don't know. The problem with this IXHL review is there's just so much that happened that it's like 6 hours of like these really small trades, and me kind of like just fighting, like doing this tug of war with this stock where it's like incrementally really tight, then it'll open up and then really hardcore rebound, and then I make some, I give some back, make some, give some back, and I don't do well on it throughout most of the day. In fact, I was trading this. Okay, so at this point, I'm at pretty much the highs of the day. I make like maybe $70 more on that, but in this in the first chunk, the first 4.5 hours of the day, where I was literally staring at the screen. So what happened? HWH. See, this was a problem child for me, but we're doing back to front here on the review. So, okay, so I did okay there. I'm at 809, backing it up. There was this one point where I also did really nice staying out of this flush here. I had a position. I knew it was shiesty. I was so tuned into this stock. I always love these days where like I can like really, really read the action, and I'm like really anticipating in the right way when stuff happens. And this was kind of like it had done this consolidation above the highs, and it had broken out again, and it had made this little teeny red candle, kind of just putting a cap on the action right there. But there was the whole dollar, which was 5 cents away. So I'm thinking, okay, if this thing breaks above this 0.943 level that it's topped out at the moment, which is only a penny away, basically. If it breaks above that, if it gets pushed up, like, and volume comes in, there's going to be a lot of repositioning up here where shorts are going to be like, the whole dollar, and then longs are going to get super excited and jump in and for like the classic whole dollar break, blah, 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 blah. But I was reading this. Oh, my mom is calling me. Not right now, Mom. And so what ends up happening is I'm also really aware this was a higher volume candle. The action below had stalled out for a little bit too long. Like this really should have went maybe 5 minutes previously to like test the whole dollar, then come back down, then go back up. But it held there so long. There was, in my mind, like there was like a high likelihood that, shorts had a really high interest up here. They were very committed to staying there. And it kind of had the same thing happening here in this 75 level. As you can see here, it kind of just like bounced on this level like so many times, kind of like drifted lower, got bought back up, got like kind of went sideways, and then started opening up. But it really had to get above and hold above that 75 level to like make them reposition. But up here, the sellers kind of kept a cap on it pretty nicely for almost the same amount of time, let it go above, and then this happens up here, and I'm like, it can't. If it consolidates here for another long amount of time, I don't know if it gets up there. If it consolidates for a short amount of time and then reverses, it seems like that's a high likelihood. And so, but whatever it is, I knew that it was a dangerous game that I was playing, but also that the shorts were playing, kind of playing it, getting in and out up here. And so, let's see if we see any hints of the action on the tape. That wasn't the high. Where's the high? Okay, so this was kind of a problem. So you have 942 is the high right there, and then the next new high is 943, which is only a tenth of a penny higher, and that just isn't, like, especially for like the range that we've had today, that isn't really a new high. That's more double top and sentiment. Like, it's more like it tests higher and there are just sellers just stacked below like a tenth of a penny higher, and it's just unlikely. And so you have an abnormal amount of volume. You have a test high of only by a penny, high volume in this small red candle, and I'm just like, there's a whole bunch of energy stocked up in this small range, and something's going to happen. So I took a dip here, but I knew it was risky. I had smaller size on. It was only 2,500 shares. Okay, so I'm in there. I wanted to be first too. I didn't want to have like a secondary dip because I thought it would really unwind. So I'm in there immediately. It's 97. It's not doing what I thought it would do. It's kind of hesitating here. And I'm out immediately as it tests 90 and it goes through. I check my fills, and yeah. And then it just whoosh, swooshes down. Honestly, my best trade of the day might have been avoiding the flush, like getting out right there and taking a nice break-even trade. This thing had some pretty wild moves. So I re-looked at getting back in. It had tested way below the level and then kind of like reconfirmed it right there. And so I was like, this is that candle's ugly. Test the halt level down. Okay. And then halts, opens up. I do nicely in theory, but I only played it with 500 shares. It's open on open on the first halt down, but it's 500 shares, and then I kind of get shaken and faked out, and it was 500 shares, so who gives a shit? All right, 1 second. All right, and then there was a fake out. I can't read my handwriting in this. 13. Okay, so, this dip, right? Okay. So it flushes down there. I buy it at 75, 76, or I get filled at 76. What happens there? Let me see. Where do I buy? I think I buy too tight. I think I buy right there. And it ends up flushing down to 70, just under 75. And that would have been the buy spot. But I let it go. And it ends up being a really nice position. It would have been a really nice position. I mean, recovers that last buy point right there pretty quickly. I'm not I'm not really a big fan of jumping back in if I have to stop out, because I just feel that I don't really take advantage, or not that I don't take advantage, I don't really take account for all the changing circumstances. Like, I had a trade idea, I execute the trade idea, I was wrong on the trade idea, and then to jump back in quick succession after the situation has changed and I was wrong, because it looks like I was kind of right or might have been right or just like misread something. I usually find myself buying uh, buying a what I like to call a back check, where it like tests high and then goes back down again. And so it's like, I don't want to be a part of that. And so I did fantastic at just like sticking out of it, even though it went higher and I would have made money on this one. This stock was mildly anomalous, especially given this situation where it's like a pivot lower, flush lower, under a whole bunch of, moving averages, trend lines, whatever. And it's up 1,000% or whatever the hell it was. It has so much potential of just halting down and ripping your face off and turning a nice day into a very not fun day, especially because if you're already green on it and you're turned to red, you're just not a fun place to be in. And I was just very good at, avoiding doing dumb things. Whether it worked out better if I did the dumb things, I don't give a shit. And then, there's just so much information here. I don't even know what to do with this. Oh yeah, this was this kind of area was where I really turned it around nicely. I think before this I was sitting down. Okay, so in this consolidation range, I was ranging between like $100 on the day. Yeah, like right here. Like, I just kept getting faked. Kept getting cooked. And this is where I was like at $100, and it's already 12 o'clock. It had made all of these moves so far, and I had managed to be up like 400, then down to only 100, and then now I'm like probably gonna lose some money right there. Okay, I make a little bit of money right there, and then I'm gonna lose it back again, I think. Or actually, no, I make it and I keep it, and this is where it really starts to like solidify, and I start to get a better grasp of how to trade this. It bottoms out right here. I was waiting for it to like rip through the highs, but it started doing this pivot down. I avoid the flush, get in afterwards, and trade it as it does this thing. You have this really low volume kind of consolidation as it's holding here. Definitely the risk of flushing lower, especially as it's like also a pivot lower. So pivot, flush, or pivot, go down, pivot, flush, and then kind of recover. But the next pivot is still lower, and I'm like, I don't know what it's going to do. But it ends up pulling up above. Actually, because I was being cautious, I don't think I got much profit here. But once this started happening, I was like, okay, game on. And honestly, didn't even get much profit right there, but it was kind of like, pulling away. And I was really gingerly just trying to keep my profit, it looks like. Now that I'm looking back on it, I was not aggressive at all. And I was just adding a small win here and a small win there for better or worse. And, get that dip. Yeah. Yeah, so I definitely could have done a whole lot better there. But I ended the day nicely, and that's what I'm going to cling to right now. KLTO and TNMG. I think I messed up. I messed up both these names kind of in the same way that where I didn't take advantage of one. Where are we at? I don't have any notes on these. Usually, I would have, especially for the amount traded, I would have much more notes. But like, it really felt like stuff was just moving all over the place, and I was just focused so much clicking buttons. Um, this HWH, so annoying. I was right at first on it. I get a nice trade out the open. And then I think I tried to do the same thing and it doesn't work. Lucy, I don't really. Oh, yeah, I remember this. Oh, this Lucy trade was annoying. I was in with 10,000 shares, right? Or 5,000 shares. Sorry, 5,000 shares. Below 3. I don't know why I don't have a lower position. Huh. Okay. Okay, I'm in 5,000 shares right there. It pops up to 305 and then comes all the way back down and a seller stacks up and I'm like, okay. I'm holding it though. I'm like, this, there we go. Now I'm up 255, but like not really realize, and then it's going to pop down again and I'm like, this does not look great. I got to get out of the way of it. And I take it for a small win or small loss or something like that, and then I'll get back in and chase it as it goes higher after being wrong. Yeah, okay, so I lost $100 there, and I'm gonna jump back in. Right. Okay, so it's pushing lower there. That actually was a fantastic stop out. Um, Doing much better with my stop outs recently. Oh, okay. So I jump back in there as it's holding right there, but only with half size, and then it pushes up, and I get out for like 10 cents a share. So I'm up $100 or so on it at the end of the day. Yeah, cut it at VWAP. All right. Yeah. Disappointing. It ends up going to 325. You know, I could have cut half and then just held, but that's okay. That's okay. So maybe in the beginning of the day, I probably should have taken my profit when I had like the 5 cents of profit with the 5,000 shares. That would have been nice. That would have been really nice, and that would have set me up for a strong foundation to take advantage of that next move that I got. But that is okay. Stuff for tomorrow. And then this HWH was not unexpected stock that we thought would move, but it was kind of coming out of nowhere. And it was looking right when everything else was looking not good. And I think it just attracted all the attention. I took a flyer on it, just a small size, as it just kept pushing higher. I usually don't like to take them like that without any foundation on the upside and just jump in. But that's kind of what this stock required because it was sort of just pushing up. Oh no, never mind. I did a little pullback right there. But what ended up happening, I remember I went on this first trade, getting a little bit late, and then I try to jump back in, and I give back everything. I know we made $60. It was not even crazy, but it ends up going 10 cents higher. Wow. And I was like, oh, this thing's got legs. It can really really get away here. And so, yeah. And then I stopped. Like that first one was kind of like a setup um, in its own right. And then the trades here are kind of set up esque, but I was like a little bit off position. And so I'm going to see if I can find. Okay, so big problem here is I'm taking a trade on a dip, which is good, and an uptrend, which is good, but it's a dip off of. Okay, that's what it was. It's a dip off of one. It's VWAP, so it's a significant level. Don't take dip off. I was thinking it was going to be like a dip where there's where it's like blue sky above it or like there's space above it, but this was obviously not that. And it kind of retraced this candle, and this candle had higher volume. All of these things, yeah, were mistakes. Interesting. And then I think I hold maybe a little bit too long, but we'll see. I'm gonna buy right here on the sort of rebound, and it looks like it's questionable. And then I do hold way too long there. Yeah, look how long I'm holding. That's ridiculous. Ugh. So that was an entry mistake plus hold too long. I was a little bit too happy after my walk this morning. It always seems to be that when I feel good, I get lax with my parameters, and nothing good comes with that. All right. And then I buy that dip lower. I think that one was a decent trade. That was a setup, but it might even go lower than this. Yep. And I hold it against me a little bit. It seems to be holding. But again, like such a strong rejection off VWAP, I just really wouldn't be recommending a buy in that situation. And I know at this point I'm like, what is going on? Why am I down now? I was just up. I'm flat on the day. Whatever. I think it's really difficult to keep it tight in the morning when stuff moves so fast. You kind of are chasing it, and then being able to pivot really quickly to super cautious. That's often. I'm writing that down. All right, but that's basically the gist of today. That was a little bit longer, but that's that. I got to get out of here and go to a run club. Anyways, catch y'all later. This is not investment advice. I'm only a mildly passing day trader. This is just for posterity. Do not day trade at home. Anyways, peace out.